This is DDL150.
I hear bugs.
Good evening, Lance.
Good evening.
And if you're watching this on video, please do not adjust your sets. These faces really are this shiny.
Yeah.
It is so far the hottest day of the year, topping out at about 40 degrees
Is it
Celsius.
really? 40 degrees?
In some places.
I can believe that.
Which is 40 degrees Celsius for those of you in America. Because I'm not converting that to Fahrenheit.
No, me either. What does it take? 40, double it or something?
No idea. I grew up in the era where the teachers had been taught Fahrenheit and were told to teach centigrade, and they didn't understand it.
Either.
So we didn't understand it. Anything that was like cooking related was all still in Fahrenheit.
Gas Mark 3.
Gas Mark 3, and so many Fahrenheit. And we're like, well, how many Fahrenheit in a foot? So, recording 2 weeks ago, and then in the space in between, we have had Geek Revolution.
San Diego Comic Con.
San Diego.
What?
Well, it was the fact that we'd, I think last week you were saying to me, oh, well, we had a lot to talk about last time, but what are we going to talk about next time? It's like, yeah, have you been on the internet recently?
I don't know. I kind of knew it was on, but there was. I didn't know who were there, what was happening, so I wasn't really that interested.
Oh.
Yeah, I know, right? Maybe I'm growing up. But no, it was just sort of the kind of Marvel thing is sort of what's going to happen next, but whatever.
It's had a peak for the moment.
With sort of Endgame and that's kind of its peak. So I wasn't really that. I know there's a few other movies coming out, but there wasn't going to be, as far as I knew anyway, there wasn't going to be any sort of massive reveals.
Announcements, yeah.
And Star Wars, I'm trying to stay away from a
Star Wars have been pretty good with releasing trailers that you go through, you pick to pieces, and you think you know what's going to happen.
And then you
get it completely wrong.
Yeah.
So I'm not too worried about the spoiler stuff.
Yeah. So
comes out.
I just wasn't really that interested. However,
you completely missed.
I completely missed the trailer for Picard.
Yes.
Which I did see a few days after we'd had our conversation, walking last Sunday, and it's like, oh, that's why you wanted to talk about the Borg. Okay. Yeah. I was really quite excited.
So it may seem difficult to believe when you hear the quality of this show, but we do quite often wing it, don't we?
Quite often is probably an understatement.
And so generally I'll throw a question at Lance, and the first time that he hears it is the first time that you hear it. And so we went for a walk along the way, as we've been doing now for a while, on Sunday.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to gently probe to find out how much Lance knows, rather than going in cold here. So hopefully, he's going to come out as a complete geek and know all the answers to all the questions I'm going to ask here.
I may know some of the answers to some of the questions, but laptop in front of me. There's notes here.
Are you feeling confident?
No, not in the slightest, but let's see what happens, shall we?
I feel silly saying this, but if you haven't seen the trailer for Picard already and you're remotely interested in Star Trek, pause now, go watch it, and then come back. I mean, we'll still be here. The Picard series was announced last year.
Was it Comic-Con last year?
I don't think it was Comic-Con, but it was certainly 2018 that Picard said going back to work, and Picard, sorry. And the name escapes me.
Do you know, I was hoping you were going to get it because it's come from me as well.
Sir Patrick Stewart. The Sir was there. It's like, But Sir,
Sir Patrick Stewart.
so
yes.
it was last year that Sir Patrick Stewart tweeted out the fact that he was going back to work and sort of teased us with the fact that they were going to be doing this. But yes, this year at Comic-Con, they released a trailer for it. And there were a couple of things in the trailer which we weren't expecting.
Well, so we were told that all the way through that Picard's happening and sort of the stuff that you've seen on the internet, they were consistent in saying that none of the other original cast were going to be in the series. Now, It was known that Jonathan Frakes was on the set, Riker.
But is he not?
But he was there as a director.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Because he directed, I think he directed the last 2 Star Trek movies.
Yeah.
And he's done a couple of episodes of Discovery, as well as other non-Star Trek related stuff.
Yeah.
So it was known that he was on set, and he said,
Yeah.
I'm directing one of the episodes. Turns out that we saw in the trailer that Brent Spiner's back playing an android.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say he's playing Data, because as far as we know, Data got blown up in Nemesis. He sacrificed himself to save the crew.
See,
at the
I
end of
was
Nemesis.
going to watch Nemesis before this recording, but never got round to it.
Yeah, so right at the end, the saving thing is Data goes out I can't remember exactly, but I think he floats from one ship to the other, does something, and it blows up, and he saves the day. In the process, he gets blown to bits. So, as far as we know, Data is dead.
Now, in the trailer, there's a short clip of him bits of Data being, bits of an android, because we know that there's also Lore.
This is it. I mean, it could be Lore, and it could be any number of other androids Noonien Sung built.
Yeah.
They all have the same face.
Is there incidents of there being other?
I did see something about B4, which was an android before Data.
Right.
So it could be him, or it could just be any other android with Data's face. But Brent Spiner's definitely back. Whether he's Data or not is another, or whether it's another android that's had Data's neural net downloaded into him, so it is Data, but in a different body shell.
Slightly older model by the looks of it.
But I mean, that's probably how they'll get around the fact that Brent Spiner is now in his, he must be in his 60s, 50s, 60s now, if not older.
Yeah.
And Data not aging because he's an android. That's how they get around it, that he's just another android of the Noonien Sung creations. But it has also been confirmed that both Riker and Troy are coming back.
Oh, right.
And obviously also in the trailer we saw 7 of 9.
Yeah. Now the actress that plays 7 of 9. Actress that plays 7 of 9?
Jerry Ryan?
She's quite prolific on television anyway.
Yes.
So for her to be in it is not really a surprise. No, it is. If anyone was going to be back, it was going to be her.
Yeah. But then she was never in The Next Generation. She was in Voyager.
Quite right.
She was one of the Borgs they rescued in the Delta Quadrant. She was never in The Next Generation.
But doesn't she say something like, didn't think you were going to come back? I guess they're referring to things that have happened in the meantime.
After Voyager got home and when the 20 years after.
Or she's referring to him as Locutus.
As Locutus, yeah. Because, I hadn't thought of that. Yeah, if she's been part of the collective, if she was part of the collective when Picard became Locutus, she'd know Locutus, wouldn't she?
Yeah.
As the hive mind.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Confusing.
Brings back old memories of sitting in front of the television at a certain time of the day to be able to watch it.
a certain thing.
Or recording it on video. But
yeah.
That's how long ago it was.
So, 7 of 9's there.
Yep.
And so are the Borg.
Yes.
So we see a Borg ship.
But the Borg ship looks like it's under construction or damaged or something.
And there's Romulan warbirds flying around it.
Oh, now that I hadn't seen. You've clearly watched the video again since.
And done a little bit of research. Yeah. So there's Romulan warbirds around it. And another shot shows a Romulan, it's like a prison thing, with 2 Romulan guards. And there's a little sign that says, "This installation has gone," and I can't remember, but so many days without assimilation. And they look like they're cutting up Borgs.
Right.
So it kind of looks like the Romulans are either working with the Borg or trying to steal Borg technology or attacking the Borg.
So the guards aren't guarding a cell that's got Borg in it.
I think they're just guards within the installation. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, they seem to be cutting up and examining Borg.
Because I got all excited when I saw the Borg cube, but then thought, haven't we seen the end of the Borg?
So the only information I could find, I'm not sure myself, but at the end of Voyager, Janeway and the Voyager crew infect one of the Borgs with some sort of virus,
right?
That spreads through the collective and kills the Borg queen.
Right.
Now, whether that means there would be somebody else steps up to become the new Borg queen, or whether that's dissolved the collective and each individual Borg is now an individual.
You were asking earlier about overlap of timelines.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Well, if she kills the Borg queen, is that the same Borg queen that fell in love with Data during one of the films?
During First Contact.
First Contact.
Yeah.
So that would mean...
First Contact must have... This is what you said, Nemesis. And I'd forgotten that Nemesis had nothing to do with the Borg. I thought we were...
Yeah. So First Contact would have been before or during...
Voyager's being lost.
Voyage.
Yeah. So, yeah, it looks... I'm really quite excited. I never got into Discovery. I know you love it, but I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes and just... It didn't grab me. So
but we are talking here about 2 different branches of Star Trek now, aren't we? Because
which timeline's Discovery in?
The
J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams.
So that's in the Kelvin timeline.
The what?
It's called the Kelvin timeline.
No, that's temperature.
No, it's called the Kelvin because it was the USS Kelvin that was destroyed that created the rift that split the 2 things. Yeah. So Discovery set in the J.J. Abrams universe.
Universe, yeah.
And Picard is going to be set in the original universe?
I would expect so. Yeah. Because timeline-wise, it would have to be a long time after either Enterprise.
Yeah. It's something like 20 years or 30 years.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was longer than that.
I think it's almost sort of relative to how long it's been since the next gen was off the air.
Kirk hands the Enterprise over to...
No idea.
Because it's not Picard.
No. That was... There's an 80-year gap between Kirk and Picard.
So there'll be an 80-year gap between the current... between the Discovery... between the last TV Star Trek and Picard.
Why?
Because Discovery is running with... it's not even Kirk. It's
Yeah. But why is there going to be an 80-year gap between the Next Generation and Picard?
Not between the Next Generation. No, between...
between Discovery and Picard.
Picard.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Between Discovery and Picard, or between the original series and Picard.
There's way more. There's probably near 100 years.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a 20, 30 year gap between the end of The Next Generation and Picard. There's something that happens in that 20 years,
Yeah.
which is why he left Starfleet, which we still don't know.
Okay, so that wasn't something that I've forgotten
No.
from one of the films or
Nope.
anything.
There's something that happens after Nemesis. Nemesis was the last one, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so there's something that happens after Nemesis that causes Picard to walk away from the Federation, and we don't know what that is. But I suspect it might have something to do with that little girl,
Right, yeah.
which we haven't mentioned yet.
Well, the girl who seems to have some sort of superhero powers, but...
Well, I suspect she's a Borg.
Ah,
I suspect what the Romulans
a
are
rescued
doing...
Borg.
Yeah, what they're doing is Borg technology without looking Borgy,
Yeah,
and she's one of them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
everybody seems to know who she is.
7 of 9 was quite close, though.
Yeah.
Everyone seems to know who she is.
Who this girl is, because Picard seems to know who she is.
Oh, as in the people in the trailer?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
they all seem to know or suspect who she is. There's some sort of prophecy or some... Probably not prophecy in a mystical sense, but they know of this girl.
Yeah.
And they've basically got to take her somewhere and do something with her. And that means that Picard needs a new team and a new ship and
Yeah.
to boldly go off and save this girl.
And this is due out, I believe, sometime later this year. I don't think there's been a hard date set for it yet.
Don't think so, no. But I, for one, cannot wait.
Well, there was other stuff that was mentioned at Comic-Con as well, wasn't there? You were saying about the where the Avengers are going next. Have you looked at that at all?
Not from the Avengers point of view, but I saw that there's the Black Widow movie coming out, and there's a new Black Panther. Am I right
Yeah.
with that?
A Loki film.
No, Loki TV series.
Oh,
That's on the Disney Plus thing, along with WandaVision.
Oh, of course, it's all flipping
and
Disney.
the Hawkeye TV show. They're actually going to give Hawkeye something to do for once.
Yeah.
But there's two. I only done research on one, but there's two that caught my eye. Thor. So there's going to be a fourth Thor movie.
That's the tongue twister for the show. Please repeat.
A fourth Thor movie. Called Thor, Love and Thunder.
See, when I first saw that, I thought that was a
No,
joke.
It's absolutely true.
Okay.
There's a fourth Thor movie, and it's going to take... I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce his name, because I can never do it, but it's the same guy that directed Ragnarok.
Oh, awesome.
Taika Waititi. I did have to know.
Yeah,
It's
that's
something
good
like that. He's back.
Yeah.
But so is Natalie Portman
Okay.
as Jane Foster.
Okay.
Now, she had some not very nice things to say about working in Marvel, which is why she...
But this was before they were bought by Disney?
No,
No, they've always
been Disney.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so she's...
Something about burning bridges comes to
Yeah,
mind.
yeah. So what they've done to get her back, I don't know.
Don't burn your eggs before they've hatched.
Yeah. What they've done to get her back, I don't know. But she's back
Money.
as Jane Foster.
Money.
But she's also back as Thor.
So is Jane Foster Thor?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
There was talk about doing that a while back.
well, what they did in the comics is either last year, a couple of years ago. The Thor of the comics is not a straight. Not a straight person. That's not quite how I meant it, but he has an alter ego. It's the Mjolnir, the hammer, has an inscription that whosoever be worthy to hold this hammer will possess the powers of Thor.
Yeah.
And it was some
Steve
disabled
Rogers
doctor type thing. Yeah, some disabled doctor picks up the hammer. He's worthy, and he transforms himself into Thor.
Okay. So why didn't Steve Rogers turn into Thor?
Don't know. Well, the Marvel Cinematic Universe has gone a slightly different route.
Yeah.
But at some point, a couple of years ago, this guy lost the worthiness of being Thor,
Yeah.
and Jane Foster becomes the Mighty Thor, but a female version of Thor.
Yeah.
And it was a comic series that ran as the Mighty Thor, which is why the director has publicly stated that he wished people would stop referring to her as the female Thor.
She is the mighty.
She is the Mighty Thor.
So why not name the film
Mighty
The
Thor.
Mighty Thor?
Yeah.
Love and Thunder sort of sounds a bit...
Well, I'm God of Thunder. Those two are getting back together again, and I don't know, but yeah. So that looks quite interesting, and it's going to take place before the next Guardians movie comes out. So at the end of Endgame,
yeah.
Thor was on the Guardians ship because he tried to get them to call it the Asgardians of the universe.
Yeah, yeah.
And they sort of fly off into the sunset.
Into one of the sunsets.
Into one of the sunsets. So something's going to happen where he's going to have to leave the Guardians for Thor 4.
And then...
Because it takes place before that. And the next Guardians movie probably won't have Thor in it.
Yeah.
Or the Guardians are going to be in the Thor movie. At least briefly, to drop him off wherever, whatever happens.
I reckon it'll be a lost sentence that explains why he's not with them.
Why he's not there.
Rather than paying
for
the
them
entire
for a cameo
crew.
or something. Yeah. So, yeah, it's...
And so the Mighty Thor and all this, that is... from Comic-Con, this isn't speculation.
No. There's pictures of her standing there on the Comic-Con stage holding Mjolnir. Yeah, she's definitely back.
Holding Mjolnir.
Yeah.
So how's that going to work? Because that was crushed.
Yeah, no. Because he went back in time and got another one, didn't he, during Endgame? Right at the
He
end.
did, didn't he? Yes.
That's how Cap picked it up.
Yep.
So he's now got both Mjolnir and Stormbreaker.
Right. Yep. I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, so... Yeah. And the last thing that I've got on Comic-Con...
You really have prepared for this.
I have,
show.
yeah. Surprisingly, for once in my life,
So
I've actually
all
done
I
some
have to do is give
preparation.
you a theme and then let you do the rest of the research.
Pretty much, actually, yeah. Rather than being quiet and not telling me anything and then bombarding me with stuff I know nothing about, tell me the basic idea and I'll be able to come up with stuff.
I don't even have to have a clue as to what to say. Bananas. Oh, great.
Oh, I got some stuff about bananas. Did you know that you're probably opening them the wrong way?
Did you know that the DNA is 95% the same?
Same
or
as a
98%?
human, or there's some crap, yeah.
Don't worry, we won't be talking about bananas next time.
We're not talking, but we are talking about something else that is
Yellow.
quite yellow. The Watchmen.
Yes.
There is going to be a new TV series by HBO, which I think are the Game of Thrones people,
Yes.
based on The Watchmen.
Based on.
Yeah. So they're not going to retell this.
They're not going to retell the animated.
The film.
Was the film close to anything that had been before? Or?
It was basically this with a few changes and.
What? Sorry, when you
absolutely
keep saying
massive
this,
change. Yes.
I'm aware that we're making an audio recording as well as a video.
This is very true, and I'd forgotten that.
You're talking about the comic
the
book,
graphic novel.
Graphic
yes.
novel.
The graphic novel. Alan Moore and David Gibbons, they wrote a graphic novel in the 80s, which is the inspiration for the film, The Watchmen. But they made some quite significant changes in the film.
Okay. I don't think I've read the graphic novel.
You're more than welcome to take this home and read it.
But it's made of paper.
It is made of paper, yes, you're absolutely right, and I've had it a very, very long time, as the faded back
Oh, goodness.
will show you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's supposed to be bright yellow, and it isn't. I've had that a very, very long time.
Yeah, no, I'll read that.
Yeah.
So there was the graphic novel first.
Yes.
Then there was the film, which was from when?
Oh,
Late 90s?
yeah, probably early 2000s. It was Zack Snyder, which is the guy that did the Batman v Superman and Justice League, I think. That was
And
one of his.
then this TV series is loosely based on neither, both.
This is something I'm not sure about which one it's going to follow. It's set in the same universe. A time period after the events of the graphic novel or the film. So dealing with the aftermath of what happened at the end.
Oh, memory failing me now. I thought that most of the Watchmen was dealing with like flashbacks and
There are a
looking
lot
back.
of flashbacks, but the basic story, and again, spoilers for anybody who's
Yep.
never seen anything about the Watchmen. There will be some spoilers.
Just pop
but
off, read the graphic novel, and then come back. We'll be here. We'll wait for you.
So the very basic storyline of this is Rorschach, which is the dude with the moving
With the
face.
stocking over his face, yeah.
He's investigating the murder of an official person who he figures out is the comedian, one
Yep.
of the old heroes.
Yep, with the guy with the cigar.
And he then starts thinking that somebody's out to get all the old masks that
Yep.
have gone away. Turns out that it's one of the old masks, Ozymandias, and he's got a big plan to discredit Dr. Manhattan, who is the only superpowered hero in the world.
Yep.
He discredits him and gets him off to Mars. And then this is where the film and the books differ. In the book, he creates a genetically engineered massive alien type thing and teleports it into the middle of New York City.
Right.
And it goes on a bit of a rampage, kills loads and loads of people. And his plan is that people will think that this is an alien invasion and everybody will get together to peace on Earth,
Yep.
fight the
Yep.
aliens, let's stop fighting
Common enemy.
ourselves,
Yep.
common enemy, go on. So that's his plan, but he does it by killing millions of people.
As you do.
In the film, they slightly changed it from being an alien to Dr. Manhattan.
I was going to say, yeah, they made Dr. Manhattan out
The
to be
bad
the bad
guy,
guy.
yeah. So it's fairly...
So that's two birds with
Substantial.
one stone in
Yeah.
that he's getting rid of one of the original set by making him the bad guy and
Yeah.
bringing everybody against him. Yep.
So whether this TV series is going to follow the graphic novel with it being an alien,
Yeah.
or whether it's going to follow the film with it being Dr. Manhattan, because that is a significant difference
Yeah.
in where they go from there. Now, Dr. Manhattan is still on Mars.
Right.
He sort of exiled himself when it all got a bit too much, and he was accused of causing cancers and stuff like that
Yeah.
in both book and film.
Yeah.
So he runs off to Mars, only comes back to kill Rorschach and try to stop Ozymandias from doing it. So the world that this is set in is a few years after those events. There are copycat masks running around, and most of them seem to be wearing a interpretation of Rorschach's
Yep.
mask.
Yep.
It doesn't move like Rorschach's does, but it's a blotchy mask type
Yep.
thing. And they're basically being vigilantes. They're running around, they're beating up criminals or other people, and the police are obviously not happy, trying to stop them.
Yeah.
And what you get from the trailer is that some of the police are then targeted by the masks out of hours.
Yeah.
So they've found out where the police live. So now the police start wearing masks as well,
Right.
because to protect their...
Hide amongst. Yeah.
Yeah. And there appears one of the main characters, she's a cop who is also one of these vigilantes.
Yeah.
So she's playing both sides of the fence.
And that's what I was wondering is when you have a TV series, you're generally following. They don't just sort of follow a gang. It'll
You've
be
got to have a focal point.
a focal point, yeah. And so you've got the cop who is on both sides.
And I guess it's her doing whatever she's doing and not being caught by
Either the
her
police
colleagues
or the
yeah.
yeah.
But it looks quite interesting. Yeah, I don't know whether it will be any good. I've only seen the trailer and I know very little else about it. But,
Yeah, I've not seen the trailer yet. I should dig that one out afterwards.
but yeah, it looks quite interesting, and it is one of my favourite. I'm going to say comics. Some people may not like that term, graphic novel, but it's a comic. It came out as a comic. It came out in individual episodes, and then got pulled together into one big book afterwards.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, it's one of my favourites, and I quite liked the film. Not a lot of people did, but
No.
I quite liked it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm quite looking forward to seeing what the TV series is like.
We did mention at the beginning of the recording that if you're watching on video, we've got the shiny faces, etc. What we didn't mention is whether you're watching the video or whether you're listening to a recording, there's possibly a swarm of bees in the background. This is because we've got a fan going, because although we love our art, we're not going to melt for it. So yeah, my apologies if you wondered what that noise was and tried to adjust it. It was just us keeping cool. Thank you very much for listening, and we will record again for you very soon. Ta-ra!
Ta-ra!
I